This is Filmmasters. On this episode, we're going to be going through some tools in Photoshop, and I'm going to go through my favorite two tools that are located up here on the left-hand side, and they are, let me just select over them. We've got our Spot Healing Brush tool, and you see there's a J there, which by selecting J on your keyboard is a shortcut for that. And obviously the Clone Stamp tool, which is the S for shortcut key on our keyboard. Now, this photo here is something I'm going to be repairing. It was stuck to the glass of the client's photo frame. And using these two tools, I'm going to show you how we can create some of the missing parts that are missing. So let's get straight into this tutorial. First of all, I'm just going to resize this image. So let's just select the crop tool. And I'm just going to drag it in so that it fits on what we're fixing. And then press hard enter on the keyboard to lock it in. Now, what I want to do, I'm not going to do any color correction. The client wants the photo to remain the same. So all we're doing is fixing and repairing. So let's start first of all with this tool over here, which is a Spot Healing Brush tool. Now, how it works is it samples all the pixels and colors around the actual part that you're repairing, and then it makes a calculation using analytics in order to figure out what should actually be there. Let me show you how it works. It's very simple. All you do is you're going to draw over the parts that you want to repair. So watch what happens. I'm going to select this part here and this little bit of a tear here. And when I release it, you'll see, and I'll zoom in, you'll see that part of the sky has now been patched up. So by simply going around all these little small rips, I can quickly repair them. Now, let's see what happens when you drag it over a part that has other elements. For example, I've got the sky and the ocean. And as you can see, it's repaired where the actual water and the sky meet. So it is a very powerful tool. So this is one of my favorite tools for doing really quick repairs on a photo. And over the clouds. And as you can see, you can quickly repair a photo simply by using this tool. And it's, like I was saying before, it is very powerful. Now let's see what happens when you use this tool in something that's a little bit more complex. For example, let's have a look at the ocean. Not only do we have a difference in coloration, so we've got the dark water and the light water, we've also got the damaged part of the picture there. So I'm going to press J on my keyboard, which is going to bring up this tool, the shortcut, and just drag over it. And as you can see, it does a very good job in making sure that it's picking up all the surrounding pixels, working out what colors are going to be used, and then filling in the parts that are missing. Now let's see what happens when you do it on a larger portion. And as you can see, you can almost do this whole photo with this tool. Now, let's see what happens though on the towel. So I'm going to just run it down the towel where the seam is. And it is passable, but it's probably not something I would want to use. For that, we're going to use a different tool. For that one is my second most favorite tool in Photoshop, which is our Clone Stamp tool just here. Now I can press S on my keyboard, obviously, as a shortcut to bring that up. And I can use the open and close brackets on my keyboard to adjust the brush size. Now, how the clone actually works is it uses a sample of what you want to select from the photo itself, and it allows you to use that part of the image and move it. For example, see the boat up here? You can just see it in the background. Looks like an oil tanker. I'm going to select that with the Alt button pressed down, little crosshairs appears, and select that, and I can drag that part of the image over. So if I wanted to, I could start painting another boat over here. So it's a good way of duplicating parts of the photo. Just going to press Ctrl Z just to remove that. So I'm going to use that to do some more detailed work. For example, part of this towel. I'm going to select some of the towel here. I'm going to bring the size of my brush down a little bit, bring it down and just slowly paint parts of the image like so. And as you can see, I've moved that crease line down now. And if I want to, which I will be, I'm going to start to move some more of the towel down. So I'm going to make sure I'm selecting roughly the same color type. I may even select some from over here. As you can see, it's in the shadows. And it's just about moving parts of the image around. So that's how we use the clone stamp tool. Let's bring some more of this down. And obviously the reason I'm using that is because the spot healing brush tool, which is the proper name for it, it will only sample complex, but not complex where we see design. So design, for example, as you can see, there's flowers on this towel here. And again, if I select it, you'll notice that it will try and get it as close as possible. However, it's not smart enough to know there's a pattern there or figure out how to duplicate that pattern. So there are my favorite tools that I use in Photoshop. They're powerful and use them in all of your repair work, especially for photos, which I get a lot of to make repairs for. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly go through this photo in real time, but I'll speed it up for this tutorial, and I will actually repair this so that you can see what my method is in doing this type of repair. So one thing you'll notice, the limitations with this brush, if I'm wanting to do a large area like this, it will try and calculate it, but it's going to look at that large mass and just assume that large mass is simply a part of the image. So that's where that clone stamp tool comes in and allows us to fill in those parts of the image. Now, if I want to, I can adjust the pressure of the brush by coming up here and selecting the opacity. So what will happen is you'll see here, it will slowly add it on. That's good for really fine detail work if you're wanting to do that. But with this image, I'll be using it at 100%. One, because it's quicker, and secondly, because it's just the sky. There's nothing really there that I need to make adjustments with. Top here, and how I clean that up is I simply selected the stamp tool, adjusted the opacity of it down to around half, so around 50%, and then I just drew over it, and that gets rid of the bit of the blotchiness in the sky by putting a type of Gaussian look over it. So one thing I just did then as well, when I finished with my clone tool, especially with the sky, you see I went straight over with the healing brush, and that allowed me just to correct some of the mistakes in the sky. It's really good for assisting in removing duplication of the image as well. And that is how I repair a image that has parts missing out of it, just using the basics of two strong, powerful tools, which again are these ones located up here on the left-hand side on my toolbar, which is a spot healing brush tool, which is J, and also the clone stamp tool, which is S as a shortcut on the keyboard. Now, if you want to become a Filmmaster subby, it's pretty simple. Subscribe to the channel. You like us on Facebook and on Twitter. Make sure you leave a comment below what you think about this process. What other tools is it that you may actually use that you think are more powerful than these two tools in Photoshop? And let me know in the comment section below, and I will respond to you. Now, if you want to become a Filmmaster subby, it's pretty simple. You can subscribe to the channel. You can like us on Facebook and or on Twitter. And until next time, don't just film it, master it.